Good afternoon, depending where you are joining us from today. We are live for episode 29 of Confidence Culture Conversations. Not that I'm counting or anything, but yeah, it's episode 29. So, hey.
Why not? Why not? We're counting because we look forward to all the numbers, the increase in our life, and it also keeps the excitement going.
Do you know what? It's interesting you talk about that. So, I was just listening at 6 o'clock, so an hour ago. No, 5 to 6. I was listening to
John
Bill
Maxwell.
Maxwell.
Yeah.
And one of the things he talks about in his latest book, if you haven't got it, go get it. I haven't got it yet, so I need to get my copy. But in his latest book, he talks about laws for communication.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the laws in there is like the law of anticipation.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what you just said now reminded me of that, just the anticipation. So, yeah, I think one of the things that I enjoy about counting like the number of episodes is it shows the consistency. It
Mm-hmm.
shows that we are showing up a number of times. And you know what? There is power in consistency. When you're able to be consistent in doing something, it grows. So just be consistent. You might be doing something that seems small, but the
True.
more that you're doing it consistently over time, it grows bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So that's my little wisdom as we start today. It's not what we're talking about today, but that's my 2 cents. Over to you, Kirubai.
Yes, and hi, for those who are going to watch us today or watching the replay, it's always a pleasure to have you. We're going to speak about reflection today. Why do we need to reflect? When you pause and take a breath and think about the word reflect, reflection is actually basically mirroring. You see yourself on the mirror, and there is a reflection that reflects. And it's interesting. Sometimes we do not want to see that kind of a reflection about us, but there is more to reflection than it meets the eye. So reflection is a whole it's a whole ball game together. And today I was just sprucing myself reading of some of the blogs some very interesting people have written about reflection, and my eyes fell on this thing called a Zen reflection. It's they've taken it to a different level, a very new age level. But we as the believers, as people who are of the faith, there is also a part of us that we need to reflect the word of God, reflect in
Mhm.
prayer, reflect in deed, reflect in motion, meaning doing things, kind things. It's all about reflection. So it was interesting take on the way the Zen reflection talked about. But today we are giving you a different spin, Elizabeth's spin and my spin. So over to you, Elizabeth. What would you say reflection is for you?
Wow. Um, I think for me, reflection is
Mhm.
taking a pause to think. I was going to say to reflect, but yeah, we're talking about reflection. So taking a pause to think. Sometimes I've done a workshop before in the community where we talked about the power of reflection.
Mhm.
And one of the things we started off by looking at was we did it at the end of the year. So I told the people who were attending the workshop, I said, think back to the past 12 months. What are some of the good things? What are some of the not so good things? Just ask some questions about that to give them a moment to reflect. And for some, it was easy to think about various different things. And for some people, they would rather forget some of these things. But do you know what? In one of John Maxwell's books, the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, one of the laws is in there is the law of reflection.
Mhm.
So, and actually, in again the video I was watching earlier on today, the live session he did, one of the laws for communication is the law of pause. And pausing allows room for reflection.
Reflection. Mhm.
So when we're talking about reflection, we're talking about stop for a moment. Just stop. Don't be too busy running around. Just stop. Don't be too busy doing things. Just stop. Switch off for a minute. Switch off for a moment. And just ask yourself certain questions. So if you want to reflect on, like if I wanted to reflect on my journey so far in business, I could, take some time out to do that. And I could just ask myself, so what is working well? What has
Mhm.
worked well? What have been the highlights for me over the past 2 years? What hasn't worked well? What do I wish I never did? What are my 5 learning points? So just being able to ask yourself some thought-provoking questions.
Yes. And you are the queen of poke and provoke.
Gosh, I'm getting names for myself here. I've been called the chili paddy of Malaysia, and now
Uh,
I'm the queen of thought and
Actually, when
provoke.
we say chili padi, it's not actually Scotch bonnet. It's actually the bird's eye chili. So it is spicy and hot.
So yes, everybody, I'm spicy and hot. Right. Back to what we were talking about, reflection. And actually, I've reflected on myself. When I get comments like that, I reflect on
Yeah.
myself and the way that I speak when I'm speaking in whether it's workshops or events. I reflect on that and I can see the spicy and the hot that everyone is talking about. So one of the things, I think there's so many benefits to reflection. And we will touch on those benefits. Earlier on, I read a post that someone wrote on LinkedIn. Hi Tunji, thanks for joining us.
Hello, hello.
Um, if you're joining us, just say hello. Let's know who's watching. Let's know who is out there, because we would love to say hello back to you and would love to acknowledge you. And let us know where you're watching from as well, because we do have some people who watch from Malaysia. We do have some from the UK. And I don't know where else. So just let us know whether it's a replay you're watching or the live happening right now. Just let us know. We would love to hear from you. So, reflection, this thing called reflection, we're always so busy. Oh, because we do running around. We're always so busy doing things. But when we talk about reflection, we're talking about slow down. We're talking about pausing, and maybe even come to a halt so you can think about certain things. Because what reflection will allow you to do, reflection will allow you to learn.
Mhm.
As I was referring to the 15 invaluable laws of growth, the law of reflection, one of the things that John Maxwell says in there is that he talks about how people tend to say experience is the best teacher. And he says, no, it's not. I remember
Mistake,
reading it the first time and I thought, what do you mean, no, it's not? Experience is the best
mistakes
teacher.
makes a good teacher.
But he said, no, evaluated experience.
Mm.
So don't just look at the experience and say, oh, I learned from that experience. What did you learn from that experience? What was it about that experience that grew you, that stretched you? Ask yourself some questions about that experience. So, experience itself is not the thing that's teaching you, it's what you're taking away from it, the evaluation of the experience.
And to add on to that is, the evaluation of the experience you can put it on to the fact that it's could be mistakes that you have made. So you glean on the mistakes that you make, you learn from it, you chew on it, and you see how you can turn it around. And that's actually very, very interesting when you talk about mistakes, because lots of us are afraid to make that mistake, to take the different step, the first step, to because there's so much of fear, or I might make a mistake, and then you if you make the mistake, then you retrieve back into your shell and say, I don't want to try again. But all these are reflective postures that we go through. We stop, we reflect, we stop, we reflect, and you will find a different perspective of every different areas that you are moving through in reflection. And perception is something that um, I've been reflecting on that word a lot these days. The perspective of people, how they look at you and how you look at yourself, the mirror, and then you reflect. Ah, which are the areas that I need to change,
Mm,
and which are the areas other people are saying, whether it is true to what they are saying, is it worth taking on board, or is it something that you don't need to take it on board. So it is a process of maturing yourself in who you are and how you present yourself. So with that note, um, I was just thinking, those days we never probably used the word reflection. So I bring that word self-awareness. It's part of tying up reflection too. It is self-awareness is a different posture of reflection. So Elizabeth, what are the other areas that we kind of lack reflection when we are so busy, when we lack reflection?
do you know what? It's easy to make the same mistakes again
Mm-mm.
when we don't take time to reflect, when we don't take time to ask ourselves certain questions, whether it's, in the process. I remember after my first year in business, I had to stop and think and say, what was it about last year? Why did I finish off the year the way I finished off?
Mm.
So even at every milestone, it's good to look back and learn from the experience. It's good to look back and ask yourself, what was it about that thing that enabled me to get here? And reflection is something that is good for our well-being. It helps us to even calm down,
Mm.
because remember, you're pausing, you're taking a moment to stop. You're taking a moment to tell yourself, okay, for the next 20 minutes, I'm just going to sit here and just,
Chill.
yeah, just chill and look back on what has worked, what hasn't worked. It's like when you go and attend an event and you're reflecting on the event. Did I enjoy the event? Did I get what I came for? What did I take away? So when you go to an event and they ask you what was your biggest learning point, that's to help you to reflect.
Mm.
It's to help you to think on it.
Yeah. And would you consider yourself a creative person? I consider myself a very creative person. If I don't reflect, my creative juices don't flow.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. So I need to take that pause. New ideas come kind of bubble through myself, and it just flows through. And you know what? Where's the best place for me? Ideas come when I'm taking my shower.
Do you know what? The shower works for a lot of people. I think the shower works for me too. The shower works for me too.
My ideas just run. It's like runs amok, and I need to quickly come out. After showering, come out, dry myself, and put it in paper. If not, I forget.
Mm,
Yeah, and I suppose it's because the shower is the place that we are most relaxed.
maybe.
Or even doing
Maybe.
household chores,
Mm.
cooking, singing, doing
And
something that's out of the norm.
it's interesting. It's interesting that you say that, because there are environments that encourage reflection.
Good one.
So,
Good one.
if, for example, I took a long walk
Mm,
out in the green, it's easy. Like, I don't have to think about reflecting.
mm,
It's
mm.
easy for me to start reflecting.
That's right.
Or if I got a book out to do some journaling, that helps with reflecting. So there's environments that can encourage the reflection. It's like when you go away on a retreat,
Yeah,
you
that's right.
tend you don't necessarily look for a noisy place. You tend to look for a nice place where you can relax. So relaxation encourages you to reflect. Some of the mistakes you're making today, if you stopped to reflect, you wouldn't be making those mistakes. Some of the reasons why we are not stepping out boldly to do the things that we need to be doing in this time is because we are not stopping to reflect. We're
Mhm.
not reflecting on how our action or inaction is affecting us or even affecting the people around us.
Mhm.
Because reflection is not just reflecting on the good things, it's also reflecting on what's not working.
Mm.
What's the thing here that's stopping me? You know, Kirubai talked earlier on about self-awareness. And yes, reflection helps you to get into a place of greater self-awareness. If you've had me share a bit about my story, one of the times when I was able to decide that I did not want to go for an engineering job anymore was when I was working in a bank. I was working it was in a call center for a bank. The job was nothing special. It was nothing special. There were some people who had done it for years, but it was nothing special. Sorry, it was nothing special. Sorry if you're doing that job. But for me, it was not. I knew that there was more to me.
Yeah.
And sitting there taking those calls, I was reflecting. I was asking myself, so what is it about this that you enjoy? Or what do you think is the reason for you being here? And it was in those months, in those weeks that I was, in those months that I was there, that I decided actually I enjoy working with people. So I don't want to go and apply for engineering jobs anymore. I'll stay in the bank. And I made the decision. So reflecting gives us clarity.
Yeah.
So if you're watching today and you're thinking to yourself, there's a decision I need to make, or I'm a bit stuck here, take some time to reflect. Give yourself some downtime.
Mhm.
Put yourself in an environment that encourages reflection, and you will start to get the clarity. And in the reflection, ask yourself some questions. They say that as human beings, we don't like to think, but actually, thinking is good for you. Thinking helps you to figure out the next step.
That's true. Yeah, it makes you a happy because when you get your answers, you get it in clarity. Then it makes your adrenalines, dopamines all work. They're happy. They make you happy. They make you happy because you have found an answer to your solution because of reflection.
And you know what? Every reflection also helps us to be grateful. Because when we reflect, we look back on what could have been,
Mm.
what hasn't been, and sometimes reflection, it presents the questions: shoulda, woulda, coulda,
Mm.
why, how,
Mm.
it presents those questions. And that reflection time, in the pausing, we're discovering the answers from within, not just the answers around us,
Mm.
but the answers from within. That's why it's good for you to take time to reflect in a place of quietness,
Mm.
in a place where you can hear yourself. Because if there's so much going on, you
Clutter,
might not be
yeah.
able to hear yourself.
It's too much of clutter and noise. You're unable to hear yourself think the processes, the thought processes. You can't you can't think because of too much of noise.
And a cluttered space can actually affect
Mm.
your ability to reflect.
Yeah. So people always say when you go into a quiet church, they like to go and sit down and reflect and meditate. Lots of people, they might not be people of the faith, but they just go into a church and sit and compose their thoughts and just in that stillness and the silence, they there is a process, there is something that's happening within them because they've quietened the body, the mind, and the spirit. And that is reflection.
I like that. Reflection allows us to stay connected with our inner self.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think for me, that's the message I'm getting now. Like it allows you to stay connected with who you are,
Mhm.
to stay connected with, what's important to you, to stay connected with your values, your priorities, the things that carry weight, the things that mean something to you. So, sometimes there's this thing called the shiny object syndrome. Sometimes we're, oh, this is good, I'll go for it. Oh, this is good, I'll go for that. Oh, this is good, I'll go for that. And you find yourself, your hands are in too many things, because everything looks good,
Good, yeah.
feels good, and you think everything is for you, but not everything is for you. And if you're able to make time to reflect, you're better at making the decisions at what's for you, what's not for you. You're better at going into relationships when you take time to reflect. So, what happened in your past relationship?
Mm.
You don't have to jump from one relationship to the next.
That's right.
No.
No, yeah, that's right. Well said, Elizabeth, about relationships, and even as couples, I think end of the day, we need to sit and reflect on certain things that's working and not working. And a lot of us, we run the rat race with children, with our careers, and with the chores, and we don't sit and reflect and come. And again, when we reflect together, we connect with each other.
There you go. We connect with each other. So reflection builds connection.
Mhm. Reflection builds connection, especially in a relationship between a spouse, a partner, and that is time well spent talking about. One of the things that we do on our wedding anniversary is we always reflect on the day we got married. Still not gone to the taking the photo album and look at the pictures, because Robert is a bit impatient in that way. But you know what? We always talk about the event, because it was like you start and you finish, it's like gone, it's finished. So
Mm,
we kind of reflect on that on birthdays, on special days. We sit and reflect. And I think if you make it a daily habit, I think it's really nice.
it is. It
Mm,
is. Finding time in your day to reflect.
mm,
Maybe like at the end of the day before you go to bed,
mhm,
just
mhm,
taking a moment to reflect. What was my highlight of today?
mhm,
What didn't work so well today?
mm,
What am I grateful for? And
mhm.
you know what? There are some amazing planners out there, that you can buy, like a planner or a journal, that
Journey.
actually gives you the questions. It kind of has prompts,
Prompts, yeah.
to say,
Prompts
what
you
are you
to.
grateful for today? What was your highlights? That's
Mhm.
given me an idea. I need to go create one. Yes, a reflection journal coming out soon.
Well done, well done. I leave you to all these little devices.
Which it's true. It's there are so many out there, and there's no harm in me being creative and putting my own out there. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Put your own stamp out there, and
yes,
it's I think one of the things that lots of people do through reflection is journaling, writing down everything, and then you have Um, wow, I hardly do it due to busy bee. Oh, yes, Alma, we all are very busy, but writing it down, you can write your journal while you travel on the tube, on the bus, and even recording what you think. Recording, you can speak into your phone and record. But as you reflect, as you go back and see those pointers or the notes that you have written, I think it will prod you and spur you up to being who you are. You on the discovery journey, you will find yourself, wow, this is all that I've written. How can I bring it? How can I implement it? What a lovely perspective of things that I see of myself or see of something else or my family, my children, reflecting upon your children and how you want to bring them up, how you want to motivate them, stir them up. And, I think that's so beautiful. I think that's so beautiful.
You've reminded me of something that's on my list to do, and
Mm.
I haven't yet done it because I'm looking for the perfect book. One time I was listening to Priscilla Scherer, and she was talking about how, when her boys were younger, she bought a journal or a notebook, and she would just write reflective thoughts about her boys. And she said, I'm keeping this so that when they're older, I can give it to them, or I can give it to their wives.
That's a lovely
And
gesture.
it got me thinking that I need to get a journal for Janaya, and I've been saying it to Tunji. Before Pepper Chase closes, let's go get a book that we can use, a nice little book that we can just use to write things about Janaya, because that book is also stuff that God is speaking to us about her. We can use it for that. But this reflection thing, we underrate it. We don't see how important it is, and yet it's a good habit to develop. It makes you appreciate life more when you're able to reflect. And you know what? Just even being able to look back at your reflection over time and see how you have grown, see how you have developed, see what has changed.
The
You were
journey.
talking about like reflection at your anniversary.
Mm.
Before I came on, um, Janaya does this thing where she likes going into our phones and looking at pictures of when she was a baby. And, she so happened to get onto some videos of our wedding day.
Mm-mm.
And whenever I go back to those videos, I'm like, I wish I could be a mosquito in the room. I wish I could be a fly in the
Fly
room,
on the wall.
actually be there, not just as the main person in the wedding, but actually be there, because it just helps me to see it from a different perspective. But what reflection will do is that it will allow you to just stop
Mm.
and collect your thoughts,
Mm.
reflecting on your actions in a situation. If you did something and maybe someone was not happy, or you did something and maybe it worked, maybe it didn't work, being
Mm.
able to just look back. Some of us, we go to loads of events. Do you take time to stop and reflect on your learning from different events?
Mhm.
What can you take action on from the different events you're going to? Because it's all well and good going to events, but beyond the event, what happens? You're wasting your time if you keep going to an event and you never take action. Stop it. Don't go for another event.
Course junkie.
Honestly, there's no need being a cost junk if your life is not being transformed, if you're not changing. There is a problem. There is a problem.
Mm.
You know, and sorry, Kirubai, let me just finish this one. And it's true about us who are within Christendom as well, within Christian circles.
One
You're going
conference
to
after the
church
other.
and nothing is changing. Your mindset is not shifting. Your prayer life is not changing. Like, what's going on? Take time to reflect on it. It's not just your village people who are after you. It's not just the devil. It's not always the devil. Don't give him credit. Take time to reflect. Even the Bible talks about meditating on his word.
Word,
That's
yes.
reflecting on his word. When you read the word of God, how does it provoke you? What does it do to you? What does it get you doing? Do you just read it and say, oh, this is an amazing book? Oh, I love the word of God. I love what it says. But how is it transforming your life?
I'm going to share a very scary incident this afternoon. I have been reflecting on some things since yesterday, and I've been reflecting this morning. I got up. I've been reflecting very, very silently, collecting my thoughts. And lo and behold, at 4 o'clock this afternoon, somebody calls me. He's actually a pastor.
Wow.
And he called me and he said, Sister, I sense that you are in a place of contemplation, not contemplation, yes. And so he asked me what was I thinking about, and he said he was prompted to call me.
Wow. Wow.
And I was really taken aback, really taken aback. And I said, wow. And then I shared with him and he said, okay, I'll go back and pray for you and see what the Lord reveals. And I was really touched because I only had spoken to this person once before. And God put my name in his heart. And this is the power of reflection. I, I don't know him from Adams, but there's something that, there was some connection that he is going to come back with a sort of answer because I've been searching for this answer for a long time.
Mm.
So I need that answer. And sometimes God uses a third party to bring that answer to you. So isn't that scary, Elizabeth?
You know what? It's scary and yet amazing that you can be in this moment, you're in your own little bubble,
Yeah.
and yet somewhere deep down, God is
Talking to someone
thinking
else.
on what you are thinking on,
Yeah.
to the point that He is sending somebody to come to you because you're in a time of contemplation, in a
Yes.
time of reflection.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show how amazing our God is.
That's right.
Like you're in your own space, and yet He's prodding somebody to say, call her, speak
Yeah.
to her.
And this person was in Malaysia, and he's actually from India. He's come to Malaysia to minister. He's from India, so it's like how this connection. But and when I saw the call come through, I was like shocked. Why is this person calling me?
God knows what you need when you need it.
That's right. I own it because I need an answer for this. It's very important to my well-being. So I need the answer, and I thank God because His love is so vast and steadfast.
So there's so many benefits to really taking time out to reflect. The I think for me the biggest one just being it helps you to make better decisions.
Mm-hmm.
But like Kirubai said, better well-being. So it can improve your well-being, just being able to make a habit of time of reflection.
Mm.
After you go to church, reflect on what the pastor has preached, reflect on the message, reflect on the don't just do you know what, we give our time to things. So if you think something is valuable enough that you're giving your time to it, take a moment to reflect on it.
Mm-hmm.
Take time to reflect on it. Reflection can help you build the right relationships, and it can help you walk away from the wrong ones too.
True. Very true. And
Being
passing
able
on.
to reflect
Sorry.
helps. No, Kirubai, over
Sorry.
to you.
Passing it on to our children, teaching them how to stay still and reflect. Because children are these days, they want so much of attention on the phone, on an iPad, watching television. It's all about busy, go, busy, go. But having some downtime and reflecting and teaching them how to journal. I wish I knew how to journal when I was growing up.
Mm.
But we can pass this on to our young people.
And there's some amazing journals for kids out there as well.
Mhm.
So, you have no excuse. You can literally go and buy a cheap notebook and use that, or you can actually buy one that is designed for that purpose.
Mhm.
But we've got our phones on us as well. That's an opportunity. There are apps that
Mhm.
allow you
Journal.
to journal, to reflect. And you can even, like, if you don't want to have to type it or to write it, you can just speak into it, let it type it for you.
Make life easy.
Reflection is a
Easy.
powerful thing. Honestly, make the most of it. In John Maxwell's Laws of Growth, the law of reflection, he literally says that reflection allows growth to catch up with you.
Mm.
So it's an opportunity for you to grow. You look back. This is how far I have come. or this is where I want to get to. How can I get there? What do I need to grow in? What do I need to get rid of? What do I need to start doing? What do I need to stop doing? Who do I need to interact with? Who do I need to connect with?
Mm-hmm.
What content do I need to listen to? What content do I need to run away from?
Yeah, there's so many negative things that happens around us that we get so engaged with, you know, and it just eats up our time. I mean, for me, I don't like reading the newspapers. It's always a very negative early in the morning reading the newspapers, and there's so much of negativity. Yes, we are in the world, we need to know, but some people can just get drawn into that newspapers, and that's not good. That's not good. The newspaper and a cup of tea. Oh, not good. Not good at all. Not good at all. I don't know who I'm speaking to, because it also reminds me of someone we know who delivers newspapers in countryside. He lives in this countryside, and rain or shine or snow, if the newspapers are not delivered, his hand for non-stop rings, because they know these people, they just live on these newspapers when they can reflect on the snow, the sun, the sky, and the rain, and enjoy. I sorry, this is my opinion. I don't go near the newspapers. It's so bleak.
And I think, like, just talking about, the newspapers, being able to know yourself, know how certain things affect you,
Keeping away.
is important. Because for some people, yes, they can read the news and the whole day that's all they're thinking about. Some people can read the news and, oh, okay, that's it. 5 minutes later, they've forgotten. What did you read? Oh, I don't remember. So knowing yourself and being able to manage. The other thing about reflection is that it allows you to put in place the right boundaries.
Interesting.
It allows you to put in place the right boundaries. That's boundaries for relationships, boundaries for who has your ears, your eyes, your mouth. It allows you to put in place the right boundaries. When you take time to reflect, you start to see what the weeds are in your life that you need to get rid of.
Mhm.
It allows you to understand, okay, what areas do I need to grow in? What areas do I need to invest in?
Mhm.
If you're reflecting on, you being a wife or you being a husband, when you do use that time to reflect, you're going to walk away with some action, because reflection should provoke you into action,
Mhm. True.
into particular action, better streamlined action. It's not just any action you're taking. It's not just going with everybody here and there and everywhere. No. Reflection just allows you to be better streamlined, to be connected to the right people who are going in the same direction, not just going anywhere, here, there, and everywhere. No. And it will help you get from A to B quicker when you're able to reflect.
So for people who do not, uh, they can't still their minds. The mind is always running in circles or very chaotic. And how would you encourage a reflection? Would you say playing some very soft music in the background, will it still your mind?
So this is where now you need to engineer the environment to help you to reflect.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, getting into a place of quietness. So like I said earlier on, if there's like a beach that you can go to near your house, a lake, a river, there's something about being near water that gets us
Reflecting.
into reflective mood. It's like the sound. And if you can't go there, on YouTube, you can look for the sounds.
Yeah.
You can find literally like a playlist of
Music. Yeah.
raindrops, waves,
Ooh.
birds singing, anything. One of the things that I tend to do nowadays when I'm going to bed is I tend to play slow instrumental music. When I say slow, I mean worship music, really. So I tend to play worship instrumental music because it just helps me to calm down.
Mm.
It just helps me to calm down. And something else I like to do with Janaya is, we ask her, Janaya, what are you grateful for today?
Mm.
So we try and do that at the end of every day if we can, as she's going to bed. So she goes to bed with a sense of calmness, a sense of happiness as well, because she's not reflected on the negative things, but she's reflected more on the things that have worked well today, the things that she wants to say, thank you, God, for this and for that. And like Kirubai was saying earlier on, teach your children these habits. It's a good habit. Reflection is a good habit. But don't stay in the place of reflection. Get out of it and take action, right? So you can reflect, but don't stay there, because some of us are deep thinkers. We reflect and reflect and reflect and do some more reflection instead of getting up to go and take the
And
action.
procrastinate.
I'm still thinking on it. I'm
Mhm.
still thinking. How long are you going to think on it? Get up and do something about it.
Wow. Wow, Elizabeth, that's a lot to think about today.
Are
Well,
you reflecting?
no, I've been on the reflective mode. I need now. I'm waiting for some answers, but you know what? It gives me more to reflect upon. And to be that better person, to be and maybe even to reach out and help someone, because there's something that I can help someone with. Share this little sharing about reflection. So
Absolutely.
interesting,
Absolutely.
very interesting. I didn't realize that we have so much to talk about reflection.
Oh, reflection is a powerful thing. So when you
Yeah.
when you stop to reflect on reflection,
Hmm.
there's a lot of things you can take away. And just to encourage somebody out there, all these things, like I was saying, when you give your time to something, reflect on those things you're giving your time to.
Mm.
A few weeks ago, I was listening to I think it was a podcast or a YouTube conversation by Crystal Evans. She's one of the Dr. Evans' children, so Priscilla's sister.
Okay, all right.
She's got an amazing. If you're a woman out there, follow her
Mm.
on YouTube. She's got some amazing stuff that she releases. Um, Okay, I think I just lost Kirubai, but it's okay. I'll keep talking until Kirubai comes back on. Her laptop might have kicked her out. But like I was saying, so um, this message that I was listening to from Crystal, it was about 20-30 minutes of her talking about something. But after I listened to it, it got me reflecting, it got me thinking, what are some of the things I need to work on? What are some of the things I need to take away and go and do? And I think she was talking about starting something new or something like that, and not being afraid to start something new. And so she talked about, yeah, just getting rid of the fear and starting something new. And she said, what are those things that you've been wanting to start and they're nagging you that you haven't started? And it got me reflecting on some of the things that I had wanted to do. And I said, okay, Elizabeth, give yourself some time frames. It's time for you to bring these things out. It's time for you to do these things. So we need to, even listening to this now should make you go away and think on some things that maybe you have let slide, some things that you haven't done that you need to do, or things that you need to change. Like Alma was saying, thank you, Alma, for your honesty. You're so busy, you hardly take time to reflect. So how many of us can say we are so busy we don't take time to reflect? I think I've said it on here before that sometimes I like to go out for a nice cup of tea. Doing that helps me to relax and helps me to just reflect. It helps. So that's why I say, find things that will engineer the environment, that will force you into a place of reflection. If you're someone who is too busy, then find 10 minutes in your day, 20 minutes in your day. Sometimes for some people, reflection is when they're seated on the toilet seat. That's also a time to reflect. And what you can do, my dad used to do this thing when I was growing up. He used to put like Bible verses in the toilet. And do you know what? Every time I went into the toilet, obviously I would read the Bible verses and I started memorizing them. So I
Mhm.
learned those Bible verses. So what you can do if you want to use that place as a place of reflection, put some thought-provoking questions up in your toilet. Put them. And then every day you go there, the question pops at you. It could just even be something like, what's the highlight of your day? What has been the highlight of your day? It gets you thinking because you've read the question. So that's just a little one I'm throwing in.
Sorry, I don't know why I was kicked out.
I don't know what happened, but you're back.
I'm back. Yeah, putting motivational pictures or motivational words around the house, keeps our mind very reflective and energized with those words. And you can reflect and mull over it, chew on it, and it's health to yourself. The word of God, especially, it's health to your bones. So, so we can go on and on talking about reflection, but you know
We're
what?
gonna stop.
Huh?
We're
Yes.
gonna stop and call it a day.
Yeah. Call it a day.
If you would like to continue this reflection conversation with us, in a few weeks we'll be holding a Zoom session with some amazing ladies in Malaysia. If you're not in Malaysia and you still want to be a part of it, just get in touch with us, and we can get the details through to you.
Yeah.
But we'll be going deeper into this conversation of reflection. So this
On the 14th of April.
on the 14th of it. Is it the 14th? Oh yes, the 14th of April.
Yes.
Friday in about 2 weeks' time, or just
Yes.
over 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we'll be diving deeper into the topic and just really taking time out to reflect.
Mhm.
So do join us if that's something that you would like to be a part of and you just want to dive deeper into this. And if there's things that we have touched on that maybe have triggered some thoughts in you or some reflection in you, and you would like to have a one-on-one conversation with either myself or Coach Kirubai, do reach out to us. Just send us a message on social media, or alternatively put a comment in the chat and we'll pick it up at some point, and we'll get back to you. We're open to having conversations and really helping people in these areas. Myself and Coach Kirubaya are both coaches who are Maxwell Leadership certified, but we also do our own thing on the side. And yes, you can find us on the different social media platforms.
But this is something to encourage you, Elizabeth. I reached out to somebody last week. She listens to our program silently every time,
Wow.
and that really warmed my heart. And first time last week, she reached out to me and said, I really enjoy the program, and that's very encouraging because we are touching lives. We are touching lives. We might not have many viewers, but it doesn't matter. We are touching lives.
As
We
long
are
as one
touching.
person takes something away, that's
Yeah,
the main thing.
yeah. So yes. So this week is a reflection, and next week we will come up with another topic, and it's exciting. Sometimes we run out of topics, and there is another idea comes through.
You reflect on something and another idea comes, right? But honestly, do join us every Tuesday and feel free to share, like, subscribe so you can share this out. This is on Facebook and on YouTube, so you can share, you can like it, share it, and come back to it at any point in time. And if you watch this on at another time, just put a comment, say hello. We would love to connect with you.
We have 28 programs now, 27.
This is 29.
Oh, 29 programs. You can watch the replay. Watch, it's our real life stories, our real experiences that you can glean and learn on. So going back to our YouTubes or even going back to our Facebook, you can get access to the replay programs, and we're happy for you to visit it.
Awesome. So I think we're going to call it a day now.
Yes.
Thank you to everyone. Have a lovely
Elizabeth,
evening.
before you go, you have to share the flyer.
Yes, I need to share the flyer. And you're probably thinking, what is this flyer she's going to share? So if you are in and around the UK, but wait, you don't even have to be in and around the UK. As long as you can come to London on the 17th of June. So one of our speakers is coming all the way from America. So she's not even based here in London. But if you are able to, on the 17th of June, we're having an amazing, amazing event, the Kingdompreneurs Summit. Our theme this year is Advance. It is time for you to break camp. It is time for you to stop going around the same mountain. Reflection. Stop going around the same mountain. It's time for you to advance and go deeper, go higher, break camp, basically. So the link is at the bottom there, and I think I can quickly share it as well. The early bird tickets are about to run out. So that basically means that the price is about to go higher. So if you would like to join us, please do click the link to register, get your ticket, get a ticket for a friend, someone that needs to be there. When I look back and reflect on the last Kingdompreneurs Summit, there are a lot of areas that I have grown in as a result of that summit. And Coach Kirubai can say the same thing.
Yes, I have.
And part of this connection has been birthed as a result of that. So I encourage you to join us for the Kingdompreneurs Summit 2023. If you want more details, you can reach out to myself or Coach K and we'll pass those details to you.
Bye-bye for now. Have a good night, good morning, good afternoon, and have a wonderful day ahead of you. Bless you.
God bless you.